Thank you, Chancellor May, Provost and Executive Vice Chancellor Krogan, faculty, staff, proud parents and friends, and most importantly, the UC Davis Class of 2022. Congratulations. It's an honor to be with you here today. 50 years ago on this campus, I was you. I certainly don't remember who the commencement speaker was then, so I know you won't either. When I graduated, there were 12,000 students at Davis. Today, there are 38,000. When I graduated, the Vietnam War was raging. Now there is a war in Ukraine, a war in our democracy, and a war about science. What I remember most about my time at Davis was stealing cookies late at night in the Thill dormitory kitchen complex, smelling fragrant cow excrement, getting in bike accidents, and gaining 15 pounds. You may not have gained 15 pounds, but you have spent half of your college career in a state of remote learning due to COVID, robbed of beer busts and picnic days, in-class debates, and the buzz and energy of regular campus life. Yet, you have much to be proud of. According to a 2022 Wall Street Journal ranking, you are graduating from the 5th best public university in the United States and the #1 school in the nation for diversity, inclusion, and internationalization. You will need all of that thanks to my generation's making such a mess of things. I have the greatest confidence in your generation that you can clean up our mess. You are more resilient, more inclusive, and less judgmental. And you have more power than you know. Never forget that. So here are 3 lessons I want to share with you. Don't be afraid to fail, don't waste a minute, and don't plan. I wish someone had shared that advice with me when I sat in your chair 50 years ago. I missed a lot of opportunities because I was sometimes afraid to take risks. I was afraid to lose. And you're looking at a 3-time loser. I lost for student body president in high school. I lost the first time I ran for Congress. And I lost when I ran for lieutenant governor of California in 2006. Each of these losses set me up for success. Over time, I learned not to be afraid to fail. I learned that we fail forward in life. Lesson number 2, don't waste a minute. 6 years after graduating from Davis, I was shot 5 times at point-blank range and left to bleed out over 22 hours on a remote airstrip in South America in a jungle. My boss, Congressman Leo Ryan, and I went to Guyana to rescue constituents who were held against their will in a compound known as Jonestown, named after the cult leader Jim Jones. Congressman Ryan was assassinated, shot 45 times. The cult leader and murderer forced over 900 people to die by drinking cyanide-laced Kool-Aid. More than 300 of them were children. When I realized I was going to survive, I vowed to never take another day for granted, and I committed the rest of my life to public service. So, time is precious. Don't waste it on meaningless jobs, people or so-called friends who don't lift you up, or activities that don't give you joy. After 40 years in public office, I'm retiring this year. I already miss my work. And I realized that while I have improved the lives of many, I could have done more. I could have used the power of the office more. So, embrace your next chapter with zeal. Immerse yourself in it and give it your all. Lesson number 3, don't plan, or at least have a plan B. Because over the next decades, you're going to face your own challenges. Find ways to be resilient. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Accept that life doesn't always go according to plan. After Guyana, I thought everyone sort of got their fair share of grief. Mine just came early. What I learned was there is no fair share of grief. When I was in the California legislature, I was pregnant with our second child. On my way to the state capitol one day, in a rainstorm, I received a phone call from my assistant telling me that my husband was killed in a car accident. I lost the love of my life. I didn't know how to go on. Suddenly, I was a widow with a 5.5-year-old, 3 months pregnant, and on the verge of personal bankruptcy. My resilience and any plan I had were thwarted. Relying on what I call the 3 F's, family, friends, and faith. That's what got me through. 6 months after my husband was killed, I gave birth to our beautiful daughter. One of my high school friends helped save me from personal bankruptcy. And 8 years later, I met my husband, Barry, who adopted both my children. Graduates, the details of your next 50 years will be different than mine. But your coming adventure that your family and that your education have made possible is in your hands. Remember to live in the moment. Because, as Rose Kennedy said, life isn't measured by milestones, but by moments. All right, I lied. There's a lesson 4. Embrace life. Life should not be a journey to the grave with the intention of arriving in a well-preserved body, but rather to be totally used up, totally worn up. Martini or beer in one hand, chocolate in the other, screaming, "Woohoo! What a ride!" Enjoy your ride, and congratulations to you, the class of 2022.